All right, let's take a look at polygons. So start with just the degrees. It's almost all of polygons is going to be triangle. So I'll have a little bit at the end that's like area of parallelograms and trapezoids. But besides that, the rest will be really triangle stuff. Okay, so we start off with degrees in a triangle, right? So you got three angles in a triangle. Their degrees will always add up to 180. Okay, so you could see something where they give you two of the angles and ask for the third one, right? So let's say we said that this one was 40, this one was 90, and this one just X. We don't know what this one is. Okay, so if you're doing something like that, then all you're looking at is, well, I got 90 plus 40, right? And plus, we don't know, X equals 180. Okay, these two right here, 90 plus 40 is 130, right? And so then we would end up with 130 plus X equals 180. Subtract 130 from both sides, and X is 50. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. 180 degrees in a triangle. That's how you would solve a problem like that. Okay, and what if it's, so we look at types of triangles here for a second. So what if it's a right triangle, right? And you'll see like that. So when we see that, that means this. You guys probably already know some of this stuff. I think there may be something on the video that eventually shows up that you're less familiar with. So that means that's 90. So if this is 90, the total of a triangle is 180. That means this angle and this angle, those two angles total 90 degrees, right? To get us to 180. And so what that means is, even if this is like a crazy triangle, even if this one's 89 and this one's 1, both of these angles are acute. Acute is less than 90. Okay, and so that is our definition of a right triangle, right? That you could easily see that. You know, what type of triangle has two acute angles? Right triangle. Okay, so we want to know that. Okay, that's our definition for a right triangle, two acute angles. And then we also have isosceles and equilateral. Need to know those. Okay, so an isosceles triangle will have two equal sides. Okay, that's isosceles. Equilateral, they'll all be equal, right? So you'll have one more, right? Equilateral, three equal sides. So again, these types of triangles, these questions do show up. Equilateral, three equal sides. Isosceles, two equal sides. Right triangle, two acute angles. Got to know that. Okay, that's all we need for types of triangles. Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, so the Pythagorean Theorem says given a right triangle, yeah, there's our right triangle, a squared, whoops, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so that would be something like this is a, this is b, and the hypotenuse, which is this longer part, is called the hypotenuse, would be c. Okay, so you could get a question, so we got that in our mind. Let's erase one more time, so I got some room to work with here. So we're going to say the two sides of a triangle are 9 and 12. What is the hypotenuse? Right? And that we should be able to solve that, right? The two sides of a triangle, so that will mean A is 9, so that'll be 9 squared, B is 12. That'll be 12 squared equals the hypotenuse, which is C squared. Okay, and then we have all the information that we need, right? 9 squared is 81 plus 12 squared, 144. Just 12 times 12 is 144, right? Equals C squared. Okay, and then from here, 81 plus 144 is 225. That's C squared, and then we just have to square root both these guys to get rid of that squared. And 225 squared is 15. All right, and that would be our answer. So that's how you do those. They'll tell you two of the sides. It could be they tell you one of the sides and the hypotenuse, then you have to solve for that, right? But either way, you're just plugging these in, and that's really all there is to it for Pythagorean theorem. Now, if you get an answer where, it's like C squared equals 231, it's the square root of 231, so it doesn't equal an integer, it doesn't equal a whole number, I would go back and look at what you did, because almost for sure they're going to set it up so that it equals a whole number like it did here. All right. What we just did is a lot of polygons. If you know that stuff, you're in pretty good shape on this section. Area of a triangle. Okay, this is a formula you just need to have committed to your mind because it's fairly low-hanging fruit, really. Right? Question, the math won't be all that tough, right? But you do have to know the area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times height. So if we said, that's a B. If we said the base of a triangle is 5, height is 8, and each of the sides is 6, right? So there's two sides of a triangle. We'll say each of the sides is 6. What is the area of this triangle? Okay, so what you get thrown off by, right, is the sides, because you have area equals 1/2 base times height. Any extra information, which almost for sure will be these sides, don't pay them any attention if all they're asking you for is the area of a triangle, because it doesn't matter, right? It's not important to our formula, right? So if we go back in, whoops. So with this, so we don't worry about the sides, right? Area equals 1/2 times base, which is 5, times height, which is 8. Okay, 5 times 8 is 40. Half of that is 20. Okay, that's all you got to do. So area equals 1/2 base times height. That's definitely an important one. Could easily show up. The math is pretty simple there. Again, if they give you anything about size, don't give it any consideration if we're doing area of a triangle. It's not important to us. Okay. What else do we have for you? All right, the last two. So area of a parallelogram and area of a trapezoid. So to get these right, you do have to know the formulas. So we'll just abbreviate that and say that's parallelogram. It's just base times height. Okay, so that's not very hard to remember, right? If it's the area of a parallelogram, it's just base times height, just like area. Okay, not hard at all. Trapezoid, right? So we don't have to memorize a ton of formulas for this exam, really, but trapezoid, yeah, I'd say there's a good chance it shows up. If the one thing you didn't memorize was area of a trapezoid, but you got everything else right on the section, you're still in good shape. But area of a trapezoid is A plus B divided by 2. That was supposed to be a divided by 2 times height. Okay, so let's do a practice one there. That's horribly written. Sorry about that. area of a trapezoid. So what if they said, whoops, height is 10 and the bases are 5 and 7 respectively, right? So a plus b is just base 1 and base 2. So base is 5 and 7. Okay, so now we definitely have enough to do what we want, right? So 5 and 7, that's just your a and b right here. So 5 plus 7 is 12, right? So let's go ahead and throw the 12 on there. Okay, and then divided by 2 times height. Our height is 10, so times 10. 12 divided by 2 is 6, times 10. Okay, and there's your answer. Okay, so again, trapezoid, a plus b divided by 2 times height. That's the hardest one to remember. There's more involved there. If you put a little effort into doing a few of these, you'll be able to remember that. The rest of them are really easy to remember. Again, reviewing, we need to know how to find equilateral, isosceles, and right triangle, knowing the difference there. Know that with Pythagorean theorem, we got a squared plus b squared equals c squared, with c being the hypotenuse. Area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times height. At the very beginning, we said that there's 180 degrees in a triangle. And then we finished up here with area of a parallelogram, base times height, and area of a trapezoid, the two bases divided by 2 times the height. And that's pretty much everything you got to know.